Ever wonder how your favorite brands become giants? Let's break it down. Companies have two main ways to grow, internally and externally. Internal growth means expanding by your own efforts. Think opening new stores, launching fresh products, or ramping up sales. Imagine a bakery that starts with one shop, then adds more locations year by year. That's internal growth, or as I like to say, the do-it-yourself route. But there's another path, external growth. That's when companies join forces, be merging, acquiring others, or even partnering up. Picture two tech firms combining to take on bigger rivals. Now, you might be thinking, why not just stick to growing alone? Well, sometimes teaming up is faster or helps you reach new markets. By the end of this episode, you'll see just how creative and strategic businesses get when it comes to growth. Let's dive deeper into what these terms really mean and why companies choose one over the other. Now, let's talk about the bold moves, external growth. This is where things get exciting. Companies don't just rely on themselves, they look outward. A merger is when two companies agree to become one, like partners shaking hands and saying, let's do this together. But sometimes, it's less friendly. A takeover happens when one company swoops in and buys another, even if the other side isn't thrilled. That's what we call a hostile takeover. Acquisition is a little gentler. A company buys most of another's shares, usually with agreement. Think of it as a peaceful handover, not a corporate ambush. Then there's a joint venture. Two or more companies start a brand new project together, like a group assignment in school, but with millions of dollars at stake. Strategic alliances are looser. Companies team up for a goal, but don't form a new business. And let's not forget franchising. Ever seen a new McDonald's pop up in your town? That's someone buying the right to use the brand and business model. Each approach has its perks and pitfall. Speed, risk, control, and culture all come into play. Alright, so companies don't just decide to grow together, they pick how they combine. This is where integration comes in. Horizontal integration happens when two businesses in the same industry join forces. Imagine Nike buying Adidas. Suddenly, it's sneakers galore. Vertical integration is about moving up or down the supply chain. Backwards means buying your supplier, like Nike acquiring a shoe factory. Forwards means grabbing the retailer so Nike owns the stores selling its shoes. Want a twist? Lateral integration is when companies in related, but not identical, fields join. Think Nike linking up with a sports drink brand. And then there's the conglomerate. Companies from totally different industries, like Nike and a tech company, merging. Each type of integration comes with its own challenges. Are you eliminating competition, controlling your supply, or just diversifying? The strategy depends on what the company needs most at that moment. But growth isn't always up and to the right. Sometimes companies get too big or too scattered, and they need to shrink. Enter the demerger. A business splits into smaller pieces or sells off apart. Think eBay spinning off PayPal, a move that let both companies focus on what they do best. Now, you might be wondering, why would a company break itself up? Well, sometimes those big mergers don't bring the expected results. Maybe the cultures clash or the businesses just don't fit together. By demerging, each piece can run more efficiently, innovate faster, and respond to market changes. So, while we usually celebrate growth, don't overlook the power of pruning sometimes. Slimming down makes a business stronger in the long run. Let's talk about a huge advantage of getting bigger: economies of scale. Picture a giant factory pumping out thousands of sneakers a day. The more you make, the less each sneaker costs to produce. That's economies of scale. Companies' per unit costs go down as it grows. There are two flavors here. Internal economies of scale come from inside the company using advanced machinery, technical, buying supplies in bulk, purchasing or hiring top managers, managerial. Marketing and financial economies help to spreading ad costs over more products or getting lower interest loans from banks. Specialization means hiring experts for specific roles, while risk-bearing lets the company survive if one product flops. External economies come from the whole industry getting better, like a cluster of tech firms benefiting from skilled local workers or improved roads. The bigger the ecosystem, the more everyone saves. So, giant firms aren't just bigger, they're often cheaper, smarter, and more resilient. But wait, can a company be too big? Absolutely. That's where diseconomies of scale kick in. Imagine an organization so huge that messages get lost, workers feel invisible, and managers can't keep track. Suddenly, costs start rising instead of falling. There are internal diseconomies like poor communication, unmotivated staff, or management overload. And there are external ones too. If the whole industry grows too fast, rents and salaries skyrocket for everyone. It's like a city where so many companies move in that traffic jams and high prices wipe out the initial benefits. So what's the solution? Finding the optimal output level, that sweet spot where a company is just the right size, big enough to save money, but not so big it gets tangled in its own bureaucracy. That's the real art of business growth. Let's wrap up with two final concepts that tie everything together: synergy and the target company. Synergy is that magical moment when two companies combine and become more than the sum of their parts. It's like un plus un equals tra. Maybe they share technology, talent, or customer base, and suddenly, new opportunities explode. But in any merger or takeover, there's always a target, the company being bought. Whether it's a friendly acquisition or a hostile bid, the target's resources, brand, and people are what the buyer really wants. So, next time you read about a big business deal, ask yourself, what's the synergy? Who's the target? And how will this move help both sides grow, compete, or adapt in a fast-changing world? In the end, business growth isn't just about size. It's about strategy, timing, and making the most of every opportunity.